Introducing the Stealth Blade, one of the coolest and most fun builds I've had the pleasure to play in Cyberpunk 2077. With the introduction of optical camo in patch 1.3, V can now turn invisible and attack their enemies without ever alerting them. Pair this with the time dilation effect provided by the Sandevistan operating systems, and you have one mean setup and a hell of a time. So let's talk about the main players in this build. For your attributes, you're going to need 18 body, 15 reflexes, and 12 cool, leaving you with 20 attribute points to distribute as you see fit. The 18 in our body stat will provide us with a pretty significant survivability and access to a key cyberware. The 15 reflex will provide us with perks that output some pretty insane damage, and the cool will improve both our survival and our damage, and increase our time before detection. Now for the most important perks. For body, the main players are Regeneration, Steel and Chrome, Cardio Cure, Dog of War, and Wolverine. Steel and Chrome will act to boost our melee damage, while the other perks provide some pretty impressive healing to keep us going in any prolonged fights. For reflexes, we're going to take Offensive Defense, Roaring Waters, and Judge, Jury, and Executioner. Now those last two make a lot of sense for improving damage, but for most of you it probably seems strange to pick up the Offensive Defense perk. When fully upgraded, the perk reads as follows. Defensive attacks with blades deal 300% more damage. But when will we be doing defensive attacks? How is this perk useful at all? Well, as it turns out, this perk is currently bugged, and that 300% bonus damage actually applies to all charge attacks done with blades. That's an easy 300% damage increase just for holding down that attack trigger a half second longer. Rounding us out for the cool stat are Cold Blood, Blood Brawl, Rapid Blood Flow, and Ghost. Increased movement speed pairs excellently with Cardio Cure, increased melee damage and health regeneration are huge bonuses, and Ghost allows us to stay hidden even after our camo expires. Moving on now to our cyberware. The three cyberware that we need to bring the most out of this build are the Optical Camo, the Kyant Sandevistan Mark IV, and the Bioconductor. The legendary Optical Camo can be purchased from this Ripper Dock, located in Rancho Coronado, and provides 15 seconds of optical camouflage with a 60-second cooldown. The Kyant Mark IV can be purchased from Fingers near the Cherry Blossom Market, and provides 12 seconds of time dilation with a 15-second cooldown. As a quick note, it is possible to lock yourself from purchasing the cyberware in-game. During the mission, the space in between, when you confront Fingers, make absolutely certain that you do not hit him at any point. This will result in him no longer selling you cyberware, and will forever keep you from completing this version of the build. Additionally, I slot in the mods Arasaka Software, which extends your detection time by 70% when the cyberware is active, and is purchasable here in Downtown City Center, and two heatsink mods which reduce the cooldown of the cyberware and are purchasable from the Ripper Dock here in Kabuki Watson. Lastly, the legendary Bioconductor reduces all cyberware cooldowns by 30% and is purchasable from the Ripper Dock here in the Badlands. This is a really powerful effect as it reduces our optical camo cooldown to 40 seconds, and when paired with the two heatsink mods, reduces our Sandevistan cooldown to 5 seconds. Aside from these cyberware, I would also recommend 3 additional cyberware, but while these will enhance the build, they are totally optional. They are the Nano Relays, which extend the duration of our Sandevistan, the Heal on Kill, which, well, it does exactly what it says, and the legendary Subdermal Armor, which increases our armor by 200. If you want to get these mods, I suggest increasing your reflexes to 18 first in order to get the most out of them. The epic Nano Relays can be purchased from this location in Arroyo. The Heal on Kill is purchasable from Cassius Ryder in North Watson. And the Subdermal Armor is purchasable here, near the Kabuki Market in Watson. Finally, we get to our equipment. It's a knife. Not a katana, a knife. Pick whichever mods you prefer. I tend to go for crit damage, but it's really up to you. A legendary knife can be purchased from this melee weapons dealer here in Kabuki. Make sure the version he is offering has good stats for crit chance and crit damage. Now you might be tempted to take this build and put your own spin on it by using a katana. After all, they're sleek, they're fast attacking, they're blade, and honestly, they look awesome. Well, don't. Sure, they're cool, but they have one massive drawback that applies to this build. Their kill animation. See, currently, Sandevistan is bugged and doesn't allow combination attacks from weapons while active. This doesn't bother us much since the whole build centers around buffing our charge damage, but there's one issue. Charge attacks with katanas enter a kill animation where we behead the target. This is a huge nuisance not just because it makes us vulnerable to damage in the middle of a firefight, but, more significantly, that animation forces us to immediately exit our Sandevistan. Knives don't have a kill animation, so they're the natural choice. So that's the build. Boost your stats, buy those perks, and purchase that equipment, and you too can tear through enemies without them ever knowing you were there. With the 20 additional stat points, there's plenty of room to build off this, improving in some attributes or investing in new ones. Play around with it and find the stats and perks that work for you. Head to the description and find the guide for this version of the build showcased in the video, as well as what I would recommend for a level 50 version of the build. Now, starting at the completed build is great, but anyone who plays Cyberpunk knows that builds are a journey, not a destination. So if you're looking for tips on that journey, stay tuned for my step-by-step guide on going from level 1 to completing this build at level 30. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful, leave a like, drop a comment if there are any builds that you'd like to see, and consider subscribing for more content just like this. So to start this build off, select your preferred difficulty, craft your V to your liking, then give yourself 6 body, 6 reflex, and 4 cool. Complete the prologue and the first mission, and you'll get your first level up. Put that attribute into body and buy the regeneration perk. As a quick note, you don't need to strictly use blades for the build early on. Throughout the entirety of Act 1, just use whatever weapons you feel most comfortable with, or whatever gives you the best DPS. After our first level up, we're going to go all in on reflexes for the next 9 levels, raising our reflexes to 15. During this, we're going to purchase the first level of the Cold Blood perk, then we're going to max out Offensive Defense, Roaring Waters, and Judge, Jury, and Executioner in that order. At this point, we're a glass cannon, hitting hard and fast, but not packing too much survivability. If you're having trouble staying alive, head over to the organized crime event here in Watson and wipe out the gang. The gang leader carries a rare version of the subdermal armor cyberware, which will give you some additional armor and won't cost you a dime. Once reaching 15 reflex, you have the necessary attribute requirements to get your Sandevistan Kyant Mark IV, but you'll likely need more street cred to purchase it. The fastest and easiest way to build cred is by completing the various Assault in Progress missions around the map, notable for their blue icon. These missions also drop a pretty good amount of eddies, which will help you buy that cyberware when you're ready. If you find yourself struggling a lot in combat, then there is a Sandevistan that you can purchase to help you during this period. That would be the rare Dalinar Sandevistan Mark II, purchasable here in Pacifica. This Sandevistan will certainly help if you're finding combat difficult to manage at this point, and it's relatively cheap, but if you can go without it, then just keep saving up for that Kyant Mark IV. Once you hit 27 street cred, purchase the Kyant and the mods mentioned previously. If you're at the point where you can purchase your Sandevistan, then you'll have already finished Act 1 of the game. It's time to get your hands on a decent knife for combat. The quickest and easiest way to do this is through the mission Automatic Love, during which you search for Evelyn Parker. During the mission, just go ahead and enter Clouds, and sneak into this back area here, which we can easily do thanks to our 8 strength. Incapacitate the guard, and voila, you have a knife. From here, start investing your attributes into body. I recommend putting the next 5 levels into body to increase your survivability, and pick up the perks Steel and Chrome, and Cardio Cure. We are purposely leaving some of our perk points unused so we can invest them later on as we go, but you can also purchase other perks that you might find useful, since you should also be earning perks from your various skills. Next, get your cool up to 12, and pick up the perks Rapid Blood Flow, Blood Brawl, and Ghost, while also increasing your Cold Blood perk to max level. At this point, you should have enough cred to purchase the legendary Optical Camo Cyberwear. Finally, bring your body up to 18 and purchase the perks Dog of War and Wolverine. Once you hit 18 body and a high enough street cred, purchase the Bioconductor. At this point, you're level 30 and the build is complete. Go play around with it, keep building on it as you see fit, and enjoy. Thanks for watching. Your viewership is greatly appreciated, and I hope you found this guide helpful along your cyberpunk journey. If you enjoyed the video, again, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more, but otherwise, this has been Kid, and I'll see you next time.